Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to today's webinar. Before the people join, let me start with it. So today's webinar is top project failures in 2026 and what smart project managers are doing differently. So I'm Shraddha, your host for this session, and I'm really happy to see so many IT professionals joining us tonight. There are few right now, but there are many who are joining us soon. So we all agree that projects today are not failing because of lack of effort, because everyone is putting effort, everyone is doing the hard work. But they are failing because the way we plan, lead, and manage needs to evolve with the way of work is changing. Teams are hybrid now, stakeholders are more demanding, and risks show up before we even detect them. So, and 2026 is going to push project managers even harder with this AI integrations and all. So, the real question is what are smart project managers doing differently, or what they have to do differently now that everyone else will start doing maybe in 6 months later? So, that's exactly what we are going to uncover today. Before we begin, let's make this little interactive. I would love to know, in one word, what comes to your mind when you think of project failures? Is it delay, budget, chaos, or stakeholders, or even teams? Let me know in the Q&A box. I would really love to see what you think. You can put your answers in the Q&A box. And till you are answering it, I would want to introduce for those who are new here. Knowlathon is a global training provider, helping professionals upskill with internationally recognized certifications like PMP, Prince2, ITL, Agile, ISO, cybersecurity, and many more. So we have trained learners across countries, and our focus is very simple, helping professionals stay career ready in a world where job roles change fast and expectations change even faster. So, tonight's topic connects strongly to PMP and Prince 2 pathways, and I'll talk about a special offer for you at the end. So, stay till the end. You will get a special offer for webinar attendees. So, let me check if you have answered anything or if you have said anything. Okay, okay, we'll move ahead then. So without the further delay, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, who is Mr. Vishal Kulkarni. He has over 18 plus years of hands-on experience in project and program management. He has coached teams across industries, like led complex transformation projects and trained hundreds of project managers using PMP, Prince2, Agile, and hybrid frameworks. What I personally admire is how practical his sessions are and how real scenarios, real cases, and real solutions he gives in his every session. So today he is going to take us through what smart project managers are doing differently to make their projects succeed in upcoming years. So without the further delay, let's hear from Vishal sir. Vishal sir, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, and everyone, welcome to the this fantastic webinar. And I would say that instead of we looking at the failures, we would probably get into a very optimistic conversation wherein we'll say that okay, what really needs to be improvised, right? Yes, absolutely. We are living in a technology arena, right, wherein the things are changing dramatically. And it is not about the technology is changing, even our customers' expectations are changing. Uh, the overall tooling aspect, which has been made available, pretty much adaptation of artificial intelligence, that is gearing up in the industry and typically more complex kind of products what we are developing for our customers. Certainly, I agree to a book to definitely to majority of the content what Mick Kirsten has mentioned in his book, Project to Product. It is all about every organization is uh, definitely staying focused on completely moving away from their project based mindset to a product based mindset. And that is where the overall perspectives have started changing. And typically more advanced technology, quicker value delivery proposition is every organizations they are staying focused on. And there is nothing wrong in calling out that organizations they are in a stipulated time frame, more value what they are generating for the customers in form of product and services, right? They are suddenly looking at increasing their profit sharing or increasing their profit levels, but those profits are coming out of the real the value what they are receiving as and when they need it, right? We are more staying in a arena wherein anything which is readily available, it's just a matter that how quickly we can deploy and start using those solutions. So we are living in that particular world. So subsequently it makes a lot of sense for the organizations to think at least 3 to 5 years ahead of the game, and certainly have those products ready, right? uh, Before customers are really asking for it. But typically, Shraddha, thank you very much for a fantastic introduction for me. Yes, I'm equally proud of the overall achievements what I do have. It's been a continuous learning journey, and I have been part of this learning journey with Knowlathon for a longer duration. So certainly the kind of capabilities what they offer uh, to the participants, I'm well aware of that fact, and it is a pleasure for myself in with regards to getting associated with Knowledgeon, and they giving me this a set of opportunity. Uh, Instead of investing more time in talking about myself, definitely I'll stay focused on some of the discussion areas which is pretty interesting, right? I love this topic, and this is a kind of a discussion I will be driving, and for sure I'm expecting some good amount of questions from the working professionals who are part of this discussion, part of this webinar. And let's have some more brainstorming, and let's learn together, let's succeed together, and let's develop some products which will really allow our customers to be more successful. So I'll go ahead and get started with some of the basic uh, areas wherein we'll look at what project is all about, right? And yes, if I look at the standard definition of project from PMP or maybe any project management standard, right? Uh, Maybe a temporary endeavor with having a fixed start date and end date. That is how we define the project. And when I talk about a project, a set of activities which the team they find out, they provide the estimates individually, and they show their commitment uh, for the set of activities what they have provided to the project managers, and subsequently they show their commitments to uh, you know completely staying focused on those activities, and try their level best to return the quality, take care of the risks, understand the requirements, deal with the customer's conversation, and look at the entire project as a one single value, right? Which in good old days we used to call it as a big bang approach. Yes, we still deal with the same set of requirements. We still allow our customers to achieve their goals by utilizing the solutions what our teams are developing. But in today's context, it is more or less the competition which exists in the industry, right? In the recent past, I was going through one of the survey wherein they say that okay, top consulting organizations in India, right? Like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, just as an example. and they're seeing a tough competition, right? There was arena wherein these organizations they were competing with each other, but in today's context, they're having a tough competition from the startup organization because this organization, startup organizations, they are structure wise, they're very small. They have very specific focus areas. When we talk about the solutions, product, services, and they have invested good amount of time understanding what could be the needs of our customers, and it is not next 2 months, 3 months. Pretty much they have a better predictability for next 5 to 7 years. Now with limited set of people what uh, work with the startup organizations, they have up to date skills. Rather I would call them as the most skilled people what works what are really working with those organizations, helping them to flourish, grow. And definitely uh, this trend is really giving a tough time for this big consulting organizations in India. Now these organizations they have realized, right, wherever they do have the gaps, right? And I still remember when I achieved my safe practice consultant or safe program consultant way back in 2017, 2018, right, with 4.6. My facilitator, my coach, he, though it was not a main capability or main element of the skilled agile framework, but one of the most important learning what I had from is like what is the importance of you having the continuous learning, right? And that is how I started my learning journey, and I could see, right, majority of these consulting organizations they're investing more in upskilling their people, upskilling their human resources, their assets. And typically they are more inclined towards not only the project management capabilities, they are upskilling them in the technology, and typically the adaptation of the new ways of working. Suddenly playing it all together a different ball game, wherein organizations they are staying focused on uh, the prioritized requirement. They're using the latest and greatest technology patterns. They're developing solutions using that. They're using those technology advanced platforms, and they make sure that within the stipulated time frame, with limitations on the budgets, more advanced solutions which customers can really take the benefit of. Definitely, today's context, the little change in the definition. Yes, project management is still a systematic approach, wherein we do planning, we do organizing, we are managing the set of resources, and in today's world, we are taking the human aspect when we talk about resources, right? I was running through an article and it says that those days are gone wherein we were talking about humans or your skilled labor as part of your resources for the organization. Resources are typically a non-living thing, right? And they call humans as assets to the organization, and definitely that makes a lot of sense, right? And pertaining to this, right, uh, I would seriously say that the way we need the infrastructure, right, the way we have the transformations which we have seen in the infrastructure, the way the organizations changing their the architectural pattern, right, wherein they are moving away from the monolithic architecture to the microservices oriented architecture, which is pretty much giving a complete flexibility to your customers, wherein customers can pick up and choose the functions or the features which they really want to use it instead of buying the entire product and paying the full cost for that, right? So makes a lot of sense. Yes, we do plan, we do organize, but how frequently we used to plan in past? The new ways of working, the adaptation of new ways of working, giving a new dimension to the planning, wherein we are planning consistently, we are planning together, we are planning across the different project teams. and we are making sure that we are not emphasizing on the risk or the just stopping at identifying the interdependencies. Rather, we are making our best attempt to address those dependencies, wherein we are showing flexibility for our teams, for other teams to make the changes in the plans what we have created, wherein we are addressing their dependencies, unblocking them, and wherever we need, right, we collaborate with them. We integrate the code on a regular at regular intervals, and to have those integrations, to have those executions, we are taking the utmost benefit of the automation tools. And we'll talk about what automation we are, well, what dimension from the automation we are looking at it. Now, as topic suggested, right, the some of the common challenges, and I'm not, you know, uh, I'm not saying that these are the, the net new challenges what we are reflecting on the screen, right? Yes, we were dealing with. I started my career way back in 2001, right? We are still shouting with scope creep. We are still talking about the communication. We are still talking about, identifying the stakeholders. We are still talking about a project challenge as, we are weak, or rather we are not able to identify the risk, or probably even if we have the risks identified, we are seriously not able to identify the impact of those risks, or probably how the plans can be adjusted pertaining to those risks, wherein we are looking at those risks at regular intervals, and possibly any risks which is not applicable, suddenly we are taking those risks out of context, right? What I'm referring here is like, how frequently we are doing the risk evaluation, how frequently we are categorizing those risks, right? And that makes a lot of sense, right? Today's world, the way we have seen the technologies coming in, yes, we are living in a fantastic world, but let's be honest that the risk factor has also gone up, right? And yes, these risks are creating a lot of challenges for the projects, for the organization, for the teams, and for the customers as well. Now, we cannot really build the predictability for, uh, we may have some idea in terms of what could go wrong, but we really cannot predict the future. If that was a situation, probably all of us we would have been rich by now, cash rich by now, right? So that's not the case, and our projects are not exception, right? And definitely in today's context, we are seeing the technologies taking a altogether a new dimension. Every quarter, we are seeing something new is coming up. Organizations with AI coming into picture, organizations, yes, they are showing their readiness to adopt those artificial intelligence capabilities. Some of the tools like GitHub, they are coming up, or they have already come up with the Copilot. You may see, the Copilot existence in the Microsoft solutions as well. That is fantastic. But we can see one side of it, right? We are not seeing the other side of the coin. And organizations are taking very, you know, uh, I would call it as they're they're embarking their journey on adopting these tools uh, with wherein they are evaluating the risks and making sure that they are taking the baby steps towards that, right? They are evaluating the capability of these tools. They are looking at the confidentiality, availability. These are the parameters which they are considering while they are evaluating the tools. And subsequently, uh, there are some safety measures what they are taking into consideration. Definitely, uh, the way these technologies are changing, we need to upskill our people, right? Having the availability of the skilled people is also a challenge. Uh, the way we look at it in today's context, the organizations they are growing, they are creating more hierarchies, they are losing on their customer focus. People are still not clear with the transformations, different transformations which are taking place within the organizations, wherein they are trying to change the culture of the organization, wherein they are trying to move away from power oriented, rule oriented culture to the performance oriented culture, right? So there is unclarity which you could sense in the organization, and people are struggling to understand what their role is, what they are accountable for, right? And typically that is creating a that is typically reflecting into an imbalance in the teams, in their skills. And these are the common challenges what we are seeing as part of our project management. And some of the surveys which I was looking at it, right, in recent past, wherein I could see that things, the parameters for the project failures is still there, right? We could see some different approaches which is really allowing the organizations to take care of those challenges uh, into your projects. But typically some of the numbers, I would call it as 44% 44% projects are failing due to the poor planning, right? Scope creep is second in line. You have stakeholder engagement problem, right? And here we always shout, right? And based on my experience, previous experience with the captives, right, we always have a challenge. How do we deal? How our IT organizations they deal with the business, because business is pretty much they are aggressive. They want the things yesterday, right? They need the solutions yesterday. I'm not talking about today. They're talking about yesterday. They're aggressive because we need to certainly understand, right? They are the face of the organization in the outside market. They know what is a really hot cake in the market, right? At what point in time which competitor is going to make the entry with better solutions, and how they are going to lose the market share. And there is always a misalignment between the business and the IT organization. And there are always conflicts what we have seen, wherein the business is trying to make the changes in the overall set of requirements, which we call it as a scope creep, right? And that is considered to be one of the 45% of the people, they are still seeing that as a challenge. And how frequently we are connecting with those stakeholders, right? Business stakeholders, the engagement, the kind of a collaboration, communication which should take place, and subsequently the skilled labor, or I would call it as a skilled assets in form of human with the organization. That is the utmost challenge what every organization is facing. What it is resulting into is the overruns, budget overruns, wherein uh, 52% projects they are exceeding their original budgets, right? It is almost like 189% increase, right? On an average. And subsequently uh, time overruns, schedule sleepages, uh, with the pretty much traditional approach. The projects are running late because we are still, some of the organizations, they are still believing in, superficially they say that we are agile, right? But under the agile wrapper, we always have a presence of waterfall, right? And we are good in terms of blaming agile, right? So that's my perspective. That's what I have experienced. And that is resulting into the overall budget overruns, time overruns, quality and testing issues, because uh, lack of testing, limited time frame, uh, they are still considered to be the quality gatekeepers, right? Inefficient processes, or I won't call it as a inefficient processes, but pretty much the processes, they are standardized in nature, and that is a mandate, right? And that's the real challenge what we do have. And definitely the scope creep what I was talking about, we are still not able to crack on the the overall prioritization aspect of it, right? So we are still dealing with these problems, and definitely we have some solutions as well, right? And especially when we talk about those solutions, right? Some of the great capabilities, a person who is actually a driving factor for the set of activities representing the teams in front of the leadership of the organization, the business, and in some of the cases even they are representing their teams to their customers as well. And that role is nothing but of a project manager. Even if we are staying in the agile world, we are developing our solutions, we are trying our level best to adapt agility. uh, this role is not challenged anywhere. We still see the presence of the project managers, and the need of the project managers will always exist, but they have to take into consideration the smart objectives, right? They should be taking into consideration the smart approach, right? Wherein they are the new leadership definition, instead of making people or giving people instructions, right? Set up the context to the people, to their teams, right? Try and bring in more clarity, try and give them a bigger picture. And that clarity allows the team members to create their own plans. You know, yes, definitely they would need some help from the experts like project managers. Yes, project managers will be available, and wherever there are any course corrections which are needed, those project managers will help the teams to create better plans. Everything has to be based on the amount of work what has been planned, right? We really need to understand the capacity of the team, right? No point in pushing hard to the teams. Set the goals, measure their performances, right, in terms of the amount of work what they are able to complete it. If they are not able to complete what they have planned for, work with them, coach them, guide them, right? Help them to plan better, help them to talk about the impediments, talk about the blockers what they're facing, and enable them to create the next learning path, maybe on the technology, maybe uh, on the management aspect of it or leadership aspect of it, and have that you know uh, charm, right, in the overall conversation, wherein you're counting, you as a project manager, you're counting, you're listening them, you're counting their opinion, and you're reflecting their opinion, right, into the decision makings what you're doing on behalf of the team, after hearing their concerns, after taking their inputs, and subsequently you're communicating those decisions to the leadership as well as customer as well as your product management, right? And what we need for this is, like, instead of running behind the people, we use the technology. We are living in the digital world, right? Create your own dashboards. Start monitoring it. Start monitoring the progress. Take care of the adverse observations. What you do have. Speak to the right people, right? Coach them, mentor them, and definitely, instead of asking for the accurate estimates, right? Try and work with them. Understanding the risk, understanding the amount of work, understanding the uncertainty, understanding the complexity, create more reliable kind of a numbers against the set of requirements, and create better plans. What I'm talking about is pretty much taking a agile approach. And yes, there are certain projects which definitely, if you infuse or introduce the agile, certainly that is going to bring in some adverse surprises, wherein the requirements are fixed, so on and so forth. But today's context, when the way we are talking about the creation or development of the innovative products, right? Definitely, agile is the way to look at from the delivery aspect of it, making those product features available before customers are asking for it. And we are completely taking the iterative and incremental approach, wherein your prioritization on the set of requirements will be communicated. Your customers will be part of the discussion. Your business stakeholders will be contributing. They are collaborating, and you are setting up the expectations with the IT setting up expectations with the customers, with the business, and they are making both the sides. They are making their best effort to set the prioritization, to provide the feedback, and they are certainly showing their commitment to have continuous improvement in both behavior, in people, processes, and technology and tools, right? So it is more inclined towards taking a cross-functional, self-organized teams, right? They are collaborating with each other. We are taking those silos which exists within the organization out of context, and we are certainly, giving a new platform for our teams to plan better, to execute better, to work together, and show their commitment on two most important elements. One is a continuous learning and continuous improvement. Definitely understanding the risks, we having the fair idea of the defects, we're planning those residual fixes of those residual defects. We're going beyond the monitoring, right? Monitoring is considered to be at one point in time, right? When I started my career, monitoring, like using some of the tooling capabilities like Nagios in the data centers. Yes, we used to feel like, uh, we are at top of the world, right? But in today's context, we are going monitoring is considered to be, more reactive approach. What we are looking at is the observability, right? We are taking a next step, and your AI reflection, right? It is bringing in more predictive risk analytics, right? Since we are looking at the observability, it is all about our focus is changing. Instead of we finding the defects, our focus is more on identifying the deviations and fix the challenges in the applications before it interrupts the services, right? And everything happens in collaboration. Everything is planned in a iterative and incremental manner, right? And definitely, the DevOps, the applicability of the DevOps practices like continuous integration, continuous delivery, deployment, and continuous testing, right? These practices are actually enabling the teams to, reduce the risk on the quality aspect of it, right? We are trying to avoid more surprises which we used to get it towards the end of the project. We are experiencing those on a shorter scale at the initial stage of the project, and we are uh, learning out of those failures. Our teams are learning out of those failures, and subsequently, they are taking the proactive approach to fix those areas well in advance and avoid repeating those mistakes throughout the project. Recommended approaches is pretty much changing the mindset, right? With scaled agile framework, which was introduced to the world way back in 2011, right? We should be, and I mean, I'm a great fan of Mr. Dean Liffingwell, who is a creator of this particular framework, right? He started on a small scale, right, wherein he tried to put together everything what is needed for any organizations to adopt agility, and based on the feedbacks what scaled agile framework started receiving from the organizations who adopted that particular framework, right? He showed that flexibility to, have those changes accommodated. But it's not just, we pushing those changes into the framework. It is a logical adaptation of those feedbacks which were supported by the customers. And yes, this framework is really working well for the organizations. It is allowing them to achieve the right set of value. For certain project types, we we are still taking the hybrid approach, right? Hybrid agile, wherein some of the areas we are taking into consideration as a fixed timeline, right? A completely a phase-wise approach, and definitely the rest of the development, testing, deployment, right? You may see a lot of presence of the technology, continuous delivery, continuous integration, continuous deployment, continuous testing, and the set of activities are getting developed, or set of requirements are getting developed as based on the priorities. And definitely, those deliverables are made available to the end customers, and it is called as a potentially shippable product increment. So it is all about the readiness from the organization standpoint. It's up to the customers when they want to go ahead and deploy those deliverables into the live environments and release it for the end customers. And you may see a lot of change in the thought process what we had in the some of the adamant, or I won't call it adamant, but the strict guidelines what was recommended by the PMI in the past. Pardon my word, adamant, but they had a strict approach. But even PMI look at people set, especially the projects in control environment, right? Prince 2, even they have realized the importance of agile, right? And in the seventh edition of PM BOK, it's really started talking about the hybrid approach, the predictive, adaptive, and hybrid, right? Prince 2 is not losing the race. They are joining the race. They are reflecting agility into their the seven process, seven principles, and seven practices, right? How agile is going to bring in the different, altogether a different game, or how it can act as a game changer, right? Even if you have adopted scaled agile framework or Scrum or whatever it may be, how these frameworks are really enabling the organizations to drive their project activities in a successful manner, right? Now, the way we understand agile, some people call it as a framework, some people call it as a methodology. In my opinion, it is a mindset, it is a culture, right? And that culture, just taking the iterative and incremental approach is not sufficient. What we need is, we're taking care of the silos which exists within the organization, right? And a term which was coined in year 2010, right? The DevOps, wherein we are trying to bring these two different organizations, two different departments within the organization, staying focused on, delivering and supporting customers. We are making sure that the silos which resides between these two departments within the organization, we are taking utmost care of that. We are trying our level best to remove those silos. And in today's context, the security is the most important perspective, right? The expectation which suddenly your customers are expecting as part of your default solution, right? So DevSecOps is pretty much, how we are injecting the security into the solutions. For an example, a simple example, in today's context, the processes, the way it works, the way it has been adopted, organizations, their teams, they have set up the rules unless and until the developers they run through, or they take their code through the vulnerability scan, right? They are not allowed to check in the code. Now these are the processes, right, which was improvised. The code scanning has been automated. Your build, your integration, uh, with the tools like GitHub, right, which allows you to do a smart merge, right? You sit at any place in the world, right? You can do, or probably you can check in the code, you can check out the code, you can check in the code at any point in time. And GitHub takes care of the smart merging capability. And in today's context, even you're just you know uh, I would call it as a step away, right? Wherein you put in the set of keywords from your requirements to the Copilot for GitHub, and you select the location in which the uh, code needs to be changed, or you know uh, the stored procedure needs to be written, or the SQL scripts needs to be made available to address any migration issues. And it takes not more than 10-15 minutes. It creates a code. What remains with us as humans, right? It's just the review of the code, right? And typically, with the presence of this technology advancements, the presence of the different adverse mindsets which exist with the organization. Like I said, security is considered to be the most important capability which has to be there by default in the product and services. Definitely, every country has got their own compliances, their own regulations, right? There are certain regulations which, or there are certain standards which exist in the organization, like ISO or probably GDPR or PCI DSS, right? Certainly, uh, they are the standards. They provide the recommendations, but you know, it's up to the organization in terms of whether they want to comply with. In certain geographic locations, these standards are considered to be not only limited and restricted to recommendations, but they are the mandates, right? So your solutions to take care of that, and subsequently it needs to be achieved through the automation as part of your DevOps or your CI/CD pipeline, and definitely the flexible infrastructure, right? Uh, in today's context, we call it as cloud native platforms, right? And that's the next generation, pretty much the birth of more adaptation of the microservices oriented architecture to develop your product and services. That is a key, right? And if you want to learn more about what this microservices architecture is all about, right, you can certainly look at some of the fantastic rates which is available for Netflix, which they call it as a Chaos Monkeys or Simian Army. And if you read through that, right, then start reading through a fantastic book called as a Phoenix Project, right? That gives you a complete insight in terms of the DevOps and DevSecOps, and probably it is not limited and restricted to the set of tools. It is all about the mindset. It is all about the culture. It is all about the collaboration. It is all about we taking the silos out of context, right? And like I said, AI powered forecasting, uh, DevSecOps pipeline, which takes care of or which has a security incorporated as a default capability. OKR, objective and key results driven planning, right? Uh, Adaptation of the flexible infrastructure like cloud, wherein scaling up, scaling down your infrastructure. Uh, Maybe it could be from the uh, processing unit, or maybe storage, or it could be the networking capability as well. It is just available at the fingertip, right? You ask for it and it will be made available within next few hours. And the cost is flexible, right? As you use the services, you are paying the cost to the vendors, right? And you don't have to take care of any maintenance activities. And that's really allowing the organizations to make the better calls, to have better decision making at every point in time. And these are some of the recommended tools, right, which we do have when I talk about planning and governance. And I'll tell you, right, I have been using Jira since 2005, 2006, right? And at that moment, it was just a defect tracking tool, right? But if you look at today, right, you talk about any domain, you talk about any industry, you talk about forward development, you talk about a product development, you talk about a project management, you talk about uh, ID service management, everything is available, right? And it is not only reflecting on uh, the better project management capability, right? It is offering more than 2000, 3000 odd plugins wherein this Jira instances can be hooked up into different external systems through the APIs, right? And that is really allowing the teams to plan better, to have in today's context, the cloud instances what we are seeing from Atlassian for Jira and Confluence, they are they have a presence of the version control system like big Bitbucket, right? And definitely they have other uh, other version control systems which can be accommodated as external entities, the way Microsoft Azure DevOps port, right, supports Git, right, as a uh, default version control systems. Atlassian is pretty much adopting that Bitbucket. They're developing on they have already incorporated the CI/CD pipelines, right? Jira Line gives you a net new dimension, right, for the product development, right? Uh, your Azure DevOps, yes, fantastic capabilities. Everything is inbuilt, right, including your CI/CD. They are offering their own Microsoft Azure pipelines. But if you are really keen to adopt some other tools, yes, even that is available in form of the additional plugins available in the marketplace. Miro, it is more collaborative. It is more from the collaboration and the conceptual modeling. I'm seeing Confluence is also playing a better role, right, when it comes to the setting up the collaboration between the different teams spread across uh, different geographic locations across in a single organization. Yes, GitHub Enterprises AI presence in form of Copilot. Yes, working fantastic. Sonar Cube, like I said, adaptation or reflection, or you teams adopting this particular tool to do a vulnerability check. Yes, fantastic. Argo CD is, the advanced CI/CD and, more reflecting on the progressive delivery. Uh, Tremendous improvement what I've seen in recent past, especially when it comes to the quality. And quality is not limited and restricted only to testing team, right? You have the entire team taking care all the roles, right? Rather not the entire team, all the roles they are taking equal responsibility of retaining the quality in the code, right? In the product and services, both functional and non-functional aspect of it, which takes care of availability, reliability, or rather, let me put it in a ID service management language, right? Fit for use and fit for purpose, right? Both needs to be achieved. And to complete this the test execution to have a better quality, improvised quality, right? Automation is a key, right? Which is going to be continuous in nature, and manual effort is going to be more error prone, right? So avoiding that errors, automation plays a key role. Maybe tools like TestRail. If you go to Jira or Atlassian products, right, you have Zephyr, right, which actually allows you to not only do a test management for the manual test cases, but it also helps you to take care of your automation test cases. In today's world, none of the system is a standalone system, right? We have one system connected to multiple external systems, or multiple external systems are connecting to each other, and that mechanism is possible through the application programming interfaces, right? So you have uh, the testing tools available like Postman, or maybe Ready API, right, for the API testing and the validation. And Atlassian Intelligence, automated ticket creation, estimation, suggestions, right? Notion AI, pretty much Confluence for documentation and design artifacts. Notion AI is a fantastic tool. Like I said, Microsoft Copilot, pretty much more on the more reflecting into a predictable approach, right? Uh, when it comes to the better planning, right? Better predictions, better the meeting summaries, so on and so forth. And to call out our discussion, right, it is pretty much a future proof a checklist, right? And like I said, it is pretty much the points what I talked about, right? People have a lot of myths about when you talk about agile, right? Agile means no planning, agile means no documentation. Nope, it's not the case. Agile reflects on five levels of planning, which starts with product visioning to the product roadmap to release planning to sprint planning to the daily stand up. These are the five levels of plan. But to reflect on these five levels of plan, right? The product vision, which actually set up the context. I'm able to, it communicates the context of the project, what we are, who are going to be our customers, what needs of those people, right? Our product is going to address. Who is our competitor? What is the product name? What is the category? What are the USPs of product, right? As compared to the competitors. That's the that's the vision. That's the strategy. What we look at it, right? Architecture and technology don't try and fix your architectures, right? Let your architecture evolve. And in scaled agile framework, we call it as architectural runway, right? Definitely API microservices oriented, more reflection of the flexible infrastructure like cloud, wherein we are putting more emphasis on the containerization approach. And certainly there are a lot of technology forums which are available. The technology teams, they are actively participating over there, like Stackflow, right? And they are providing certain recommendations, their suggestions. They are getting some of the recommendations from other experts as well. So that is across organization we are seeing the different level of collaboration. Yes, in today's context, it is not about the people who are technology focused, right? Maybe the leadership role, maybe the project managers, program managers. Definitely, there is a need in terms of their upskilling, polishing their project management, program management, ID service management knowledge base, because things have changed dramatically, right? And organization values your upskilling, right? So that's one of the the checklist what we do have. Delivery framework, what really works well for your teams. And typically in today's context, iterative and incremental approach works well, which supports uh, or which complements, I would call it, uh, DevSecOps, site reliability engineering kind of a discipline, right? DevSecOps or DevOps is a mindset yet again, but SRE, site reliability engineering, is more on the uh, discipline side of it, right? So this is really reflecting, to have continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment, continuous testing, right? In an automated manner. That's more important. Continuous threat modeling, and in good old days, I always remember, right? We used to articulate, or we used to create a SWOT analysis: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. In today's context, we are looking at one more model which talks about TOWS. That is how we can convert the threats into an opportunity, how we can convert a weakness into the strength, right? And for that matter, you need the threat modeling, the security assessments, right? Compliance mapping. You need to stay more focused on the uh, on the recommendations, on the standards. You need to really show eagerness in terms of the data privacy, right? Uh, Complete alignment of your product and services with the industry compliances, regulations, right? Uh, Definitely, you need to bring your vendors to the party. Scaled Agile framework talked about it long time back, right? It is like almost like 2015, 2016. They started talking about the vendor engagement in the value stream construct, and Agile contracting is taking the shape in the industry now. And quality and observability, it is all about we focusing more on the depth of the quality checks. Especially we put more emphasis on the unit test, right? With the adaptation of the test driven development, we are pretty much looking at a larger aspect of it, wherein we are adopting the behavior driven development, and test driven development is most inclined approach, right, which development team can take into consideration for the code, right? It is more proactive, uh, and it can retain higher qualities, right? And definitely adaptation of the different technical or technological practices. For an example, pair programming, right? That is acting as a cherry on the cake. Yes, there will be some additional investment, but the kind of a quality what it reflects into the product and services, that is fantastic. And I'm not telling it as theory, but I have actually seen it working well, right? Wherein that your product is having a lot of challenges, a lot of integration issues, and your customer requests for a feature, and your team, they really adopt this pair programming, right? And in that particular you know challenged product, right, one functionality works in the UAT with no defects, right? So that's the experience what I do have with this pair programming, and that's the awesome kind of a feeling what you get to see, right? So that's pretty much what I wanted to give you insight, people. uh, if we start talking about it, we can continue for next 8 hours, right? Because this is a larger topic. It is very close to everyone's. I always talk about it as jokingly. It's everyone's emotions when you talk about project management, because it is not only a science; it is arts, right? How do you plan the things, how you execute your projects, and how you make your customers and organization and stakeholders happy, right? So this is the time wherein you can certainly go ahead and ask any questions you might have, or really appreciate any questions. And uh, Shraddha and every member from Knowlathon, really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to have this fantastic topic, getting an opportunity to present this fantastic topic on this particular forum. Uh, so really appreciate the opportunity, and thank you very much everyone for hearing me out very loudly and clearly. I'm open for any questions you might have.
Thank you so much, sir, for such insightful session. Everyone, you can ask the questions in the Q&A box. This is your chance to get all your queries answered. We will wait for a few minutes till you type your questions. Okay, now till then, everyone ask the question. We can give a reaction to how the session was. Did you enjoy the session? Okay. Truly, it was very insightful session and very practical, actually, with that checklist and everything. Okay, you can ask your questions in the Q&A box.
Sorry.
I think their doubts got cleared in the session only. Okay,
Okay.
guys, you can put out the questions. Till then, let's come to the exciting part. As promised, we have a special webinar only offer all attendees. So the offer is if you enroll for PMP or Prince2 certifications, Prince2 any pathways with Knowlathon within the next 7 days, you will receive a 1,000 rupee Amazon voucher. And this is our small way of supporting your upskilling journey and making it easier to commit to your next career step. So I'm sharing the registration form link in the Q&A box, which you can access and keep it with you if you don't want to register now. If you want to read more about the Knowlathon, we got one question. Okay, let me say it out, then we'll take the question. So here you can, I have shared the link in the Q&A box. You can check out the offer there, or you can just register there. Our team will contact you and give you further details. So the question for you, sir, over the time, Agile is also becoming or marching towards the traditional way of project management. What are your thoughts on this?
No, I don't see any placeholder wherein we are, there is wherein we can see that as a traditional approach. No, uh, certainly, the frameworks they are reflecting more changes, more shorter time frames. What we are taking into consideration. Yes, adopting the enterprise-wide agility. It is going to be a challenge for every organization, but I don't think that agile at any given point in time will be called out as a traditional approach. Not really. It is up to you how far you go ahead and how far you reflect on the change in the culture, right? And that is going to be a continuous activity, and that is going to be agility which will reside with us. Forget about Scrum and other frameworks, right? They are just a mechanism. It's just a matter that how you uh, march towards changing the culture of the organization. So that's my perspective.
Okay, I hope Paruni, you got your answer. Any questions? We can also take more questions, so you can put out the questions. Till then, I'll share my screen and show you. You can just scan the QR code to register yourself for the offer.
Are you sharing any screen? Yep. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yep. Now we can see it.
Yes. So everyone, you can scan this QR code and enroll. You can just register it out. Our team will contact you, and then maybe you can decide which one you have to choose. Our team will also help you to choose the path, either PMP, Prince2, or any other paths. So has mentioned, be it Safe Agile or Scrum Master. There are multiple paths and multiple certifications we are offering at Knowlathon. So check it out for any certification on our website. We are offering this 1,000 rupee Amazon voucher if you register within the 7 days. So do check it out. I'm keeping this on screen for a while so you can scan and register directly. Till the time who have questions, they can put the questions in the Q&A box. We will check that too. I have also shared our contact details in the Q&A box. Also, I have shared all our social media channel links so that you can follow us or subscribe to us on YouTube, where we are giving further webinar updates or career insights and certification related content. So you can check that out, and there are contact details. You can call us, you can email us, or you can check our website, which is www.knowlathon.com, where you can find easily all the courses. Any further questions? I hope you everyone got the registration link. Okay. With reactions, can you tell me how excited are you to implement what you learned today in today's session? Okay, I'll stop sharing. You still have the link in the Q&A box. Okay. Okay, we got one question, sir. According to you, how can organizations complete the project within budgets? What actions needed to be taken care of?
Yep. So when you talk about this budget side, right, especially when I look at it, the trends are changing. Wherein instead of yes, we are still looking at the fixed price contracts. Uh, the new trend is more inclined towards per feature or probably per user story or per story point kind of a costing, right? So that's certainly, having a better collaboration with your customers or the stakeholders, and you having the presence of agile contracting that will certainly set up the expectations both sides, yeah, organization as well as the customers or the stakeholders, and they can plan the things in a better manner, right? So I think that is most important, the way we are looking at the things now in the new world.
I hope, Alpesh, you got your answer. Any more questions? We'll wait for a minute and then we can sign off. Okay. Uh, Thank you so much, Vishal sir, for such power-packed session and interactive as well as um, insightful session. Thank you so much, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Uh, Good evening. Sorry. Good night for today, and I hope to see you again in the next session.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night. Bye.
Yes. Thank you.